Did we just see a trailer for a medieval multiverse deck builder story driven game? I think we did. And with me is the developer of Foretales, this amazing game.
Hi.
Hello, Alain Puget, if I pronounced it correctly.
Yes, yes, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Welcome to IndieX. How you doing?
Yeah. Well, really fine. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, thank you for joining us. So this is just from the trailer. There is a lot going on to digest here. We have this awesome art coupled with this concept of visions with the anthropomorphic animals and following a story in a deck builder. Um, I've played it already. Spoiler: it really works well. But how did all of this meshed up together?
So, well, just one thing before I begin really with the origin story. It's the game is actually not a deck builder. It may
Okay.
look like a typical card game, a typical confrontation card game, like those Slay the Spire or Stone or whatever.
Hmm.
But it's actually much more of a narrative game supported by cards and some classic card mechanics. But it's not actually a real deck builder. There are a few things you acquire new cards along the way when you recruit new partners, and maybe they will evolve and learn new skills. So you may gain a few cards, but it's not. Yeah, you should not expect the classic typical gameplay from a deck builder. It's really a narrative game based on cards.
Okay, so it's more
and
like
and
a deck built than a deck builder. You are.
it's yeah it's first and foremost a narrative game,
Mhm.
but using card mechanics and card formats. Really, the origin story behind Force Tales is when I played a few years ago a Cultist Simulator. I don't know if you've played this game.
Which
I mean,
one?
it's Cultist Simulator.
Yes, I reviewed it actually. It's awesome.
So it was a very original game, very experimental maybe.
Hmm.
It was you had
It.
very little tutorial, very little guidance about what you were supposed
Hmm.
to do and how you were supposed to do it. So it was really interesting, but quite hardcore, quite niche. And
Hmm.
when I played it, I really thought that it was a wonderful way of telling stories, but with I really wanted to use the same kind of formats, but maybe being less hardcore, less niche, less experimental, a bit more mainstream, and but use it the same kind of format to tell a story.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's really what started Forte.
Oh, that's a really nice inspiration. Cultist Simulator has a lot going on, if you, and it just drops you into the action, and you have to figure it out by yourself. I can see where making it more approachable, with a more easy to enter game mechanics makes for a very good approach for the Fortales. So let's jump a bit into the game. I'll start. A very fresh game, so everybody can have a taste. Is the game? Does the game have a demo available? Is it already out? Can you give us some details for the ones that do not
So
know?
there, we released a demo for the Steam Fest in back in June. Actually, we had to remove the demo because it was not. We were not able to maintain it with the last patches that we made for the game, and so we removed it a bit before the release of the game. This is something that we have to discuss with our publisher to know that if we want to republish a demo which would be really up to date with all the visual effects, all the sound effects that we added in the last weeks of development of the game. But since it was absent from the old demo we had, we felt like it was not a good, it did not give a good image for the game because it there was some systems also were missing, like the help system, the hint system that you
Mhm.
can use if you are stuck in the game. Yeah, so there was no help hint system in the demo and stuff like that. So we had to remove it just before launch, and I think at some point we will reintroduce a demo for people to test the first few missions.
If sometimes the demo oversells the game, in this case you took it out because the game was a lot better than the demo. So I think
Yeah,
that's a nice
we
thing.
introduced a lot of polish in the last few weeks after the release of the demo. Yeah, it was a bit complicated to update the demo. The demo also was not localized. It was really English only. And we did the localization after the demo.
Hmm. And here we are now with we're already meeting our main characters. Can you just give us a bit of an overview where the story begins?
So you start with Volpin, who is the main character. Volpin is a shoebill, not a crow, and his friend Leo. Uh, so both are um, outlaws, maybe petty thieves, but not bad guys. They're just they do what they must to live, to survive, and they start the story looking for a character named Timothy, who is supposed to find or give them a job, and this job should help them find enough money to survive and maybe help Volpin's father, who is a miner and on strike with his fellow workers. And the strike and the miners need money. So that's the reason why Volpin is looking for Timothy and the job with the promise of a hefty reward. And that's how the story begins.
And now we found this beggar, which really needs some food for his mind to get working. So we need to go around these locations and combine them with our cards and our actions to unlock the stuff that we need. How how does it work? I have the actions. I mix them with the correct location, or sometimes the location just shuffles to the next one if the action is not the right one. Correct.
Yeah, so the base mechanic of the game is that you have cards in hand. So on the left side, on the left bottom side, you have the skill cards from your adventurers. So those cards will change based on who is in the team, who is with Volpin. There will always be Volpin in the team, but you can have up to two partners in each mission. So right now there is only Leo, and on the bottom right side, you've got your inventory. So inventory is a mix of four resources and then consumable that you may find. The resources are money, food, fame, and grim. Grim being like fame, but amongst criminals. It's more like your threats or your menace, your
Yeah.
intimidation power, if you will.
Our influence in the underworld, the bad guys.
Yeah. So each time you do good deeds, you can hope to gain fame, and each time you do bad things, you will probably earn grim. So the whole game is about trying and experimenting combination of the cards you have in hand with the cards on the board, and there are lots and lots of possible combination, and each combination will give one outcome. You will sometimes gain resources, sometimes lose resources, sometimes you will trigger an encounter with a character that you will be able to trade with or fight with, or someone you will be able to bribe, or a lot of things like that. You can also maybe steal stuff in some places. You can try to meet people. Once you have met those people, you can try to steal them. You can try to give them money or use grim to threaten them and try to get some money from them. So there are a lot of combination, and those combination will allow you to get some more resources, some consumables, some items that you may need to unlock the situation. Because some of the cards are quite generic. Right here in this current region, you are in a city. So you will have in the location deck, you will have a market, tavern, I don't remember exactly, a well, stuff like that. But you can also transform those cards by playing your skill cards and your consumable cards on them.
Yes,
And
for
by
example,
doing that, you try to accomplish your objective.
I just heard the rumor inside the cavern, so with that I found a secret hideout. That was probably one of the only unique combinations that would let me check this
Well,
specific location.
maybe with Volpin and Leo, it's the only way to reach that place, but maybe some other characters that you will recruit later will be able to find those places with their own skills. It really, yeah, there are a lot of stuff that you can do. And you see if in this particular place you can steal a lot of money, but it's risky because if you do it, you will probably anger uh, a lot of thieves, a lot of criminals. So it's dangerous to do that here.
So
And the whole game is about letting you choose how you behave. If you want to do mostly good things, but at some point, since you are a poor thief, you will probably have to steal stuff. So you will need to do some bad deeds, and you will have to deal with them. The one thing that you are almost never forced to do is kill people.
I can be a true pacifist.
Yeah, even if you meet people willing to kill you, you will almost always have a way to bribe them or threaten them or appease them one way or another. If you are not well prepared enough, your only option may be violence. But if you are well prepared, there is almost and yeah, you can finish the game without killing anyone. It's really a bit hard. Sometimes it may be a bit random to kill really zero people, but it's technically possible.
But do you know if any player already did that or anybody in the team?
Yeah. Some players did actually manage to fully non-violent and with no run with no killing.
So I just did what you were mentioning. I stole some food from the market, which triggered the guards to come and check it out. How does the combat system work here in Foretales?
So we prefer to present that as a confrontation system rather than
Yes.
just a combat system, because when you actually start a confrontation, you most of the time at least you have a negotiation phase where you can use your resources or your consumable to convince people in the opposing side to leave the confrontation, leave the fight. And there is a moral system. If you manage to get rid of half of the enemy power, the rest of the enemies will live.
Okay, they just lose all their morale and run away.
Yeah. So right now so when you start a confrontation, you see you right now you have only one opponent. So actually you can decide with the resources that you have. You can either decide to fight this poor guard and kill him, or you have 2 gold, and you could use that to bribe the guard and make him go away. So it's really up to you to know if you want to keep the gold or if you want to spend it to really spare his life. So that's really up to you.
Yeah, so I can corrupt him. I lose 2 gold, and he
Yeah.
just vanishes. Or I
If you had 2 fame, you could also use fame to make him go away. And with Grim, for this guard, you would need you would need 4 Grim to make him go.
It
This
doesn't
is
care
level
about.
2.
Yeah, it doesn't care about the grim.
Yeah, you don't have enough Grim.
I-
Or you could decide to just shoot an arrow and kill him right away.
Okay. And if I just skip, this is my attack stat, right? On both of the.
So yeah, those are the attack power for both cards and
Mhm.
the health points in the red token.
And I
You
can.
can also
Yeah.
switch to decide when you have several columns of enemies. If you trigger the auto attack right here, both your characters will attack the same opponents, so it will not change a lot.
Mhm.
But if you have several opponents and several columns, you can have up to 3 columns of opponents. Then the order of your adventurer cards does matter. It does matter a lot.
So if I just skip now and go to combat, both of them will attack him, which will take 2 of his HP and he will die.
Yeah.
Although I'd get attacked once on Leo.
And also one on Volpin when he will attack, so you will lose 1 HP on each of your character.
Oh, does he every time a character attacks, the opponent that gets attacked gets a counter attack?
Yeah, and it's exactly the same thing if you were outnumbered.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So
So I
if you
can
had only
attack
one
one.
character and you were attacked by 3 enemies, your only character would deal damages to all 3 characters, but the 3 enemies would deal all 3 damage to one of your characters. So it's really a difficult situation.
So should I just lose my 2 HP or lose 2 gold or just sacrifice the aim shot card?
Well, the tutorial during the tutorial, if you kill people, and the tutorial will say it at the very end of the tutorial phase, the casualties of the tutorial does do not matter in the story. This
Okay.
is we forgive you for killing people, for killing as many people as you want during the tutorial. But at the end of the tutorial, there is a message explaining that okay, from now on, if you kill people, it will have consequences. And we don't
Okay.
say exactly what, but at some point it will have some consequences. And on that point, it's really up to you to decide if you don't care or if you want to try to minimize the killing.
Okay.
So honestly, technically, during the tutorial, whether you kill people or not, it does not change anything.
Okay, so that's a very nice tip for me to enjoy the tutorial. When we go to the next scenario, maybe we are going
Yeah.
to be more mindful of that. So I can click the auto battle token, and it will just show what happens. There's this awesome animation of the claws.
So yeah, that's just explanation of how it works, but it's really simple. Yeah, from now on, both opponents will attack.
And I also get a grim, I imagine, from killing him, which is
Yeah,
what I need.
each time you kill an opponent, you get 1 grim for each victim. Each time you send someone into the graveyard. So it's even if you kill people outside of combat, you will also get grim when you send people to the graveyard.
I think I need 4 grim to get the bladesmith's agent, or I need this gold to move to the bladesmith squad. I think I'll check
Yeah,
the
but
bladesmith squad.
yes, maybe you'll be able to recruit one. I don't remember if with just 2 green you can recruit an assassin.
I need
Maybe
4 here for
yeah,
the
but
agent.
once you will have triggered the encounter, maybe you will be able to recruit someone with just 2 dreams.
Oh, after I go to the squad, right?
Yeah, yes.
Well, let's check it out. Because there's this battle coming over here.
Yeah, so yeah, you see,
Awesome.
you can use 2 green and recruit an assassin.
So this might be very handy, since I can kill people without consequences in this tutorial.
So right now, you when you gave the food to the beggar, he gave you directions to Timothy. So you have to find a marketplace to use the direction because the directions are giving indication starting from the market.
Yeah, I can check the market. Maybe might go in the next card, or I can check here, right? It's the next
exactly.
one.
So it will be the next card.
So
you have to use one of the cards on the board.
Not this one. I don't want to spend this one. This one is not good. Yeah, this one will be
Yeah,
nice.
this one is good.
Don't these people know they're a starving shoe build out
We
here?
get food.
Yeah, we have this amazing voice actor. I had also a question that was sent to me beforehand. Why Travis Willingham to do the voiceover of the game?
Well, we have big fans of Travis and
Watch out, Foretales. You've got a tail. What? No, not that kind of
what's the
tail.
name of the channel? Mm.
I'm also drawing a blank here. But
The
if Professor X, yeah, Professor Axman probably knows if he's paying attention to chat. He was the one that submitted the answer. But you're fans of his channel, right?
Yeah, I have. One of my colleagues is a huge fan of. That's just. Let me.
Another job well done.
Remember? Critical Role. Sorry. Yeah. So we have a huge fan of Critical Role in the team, and I'm also a big fan of all. Well, Travis makes a huge load of voices in the video game industry, sometimes for much bigger game than ours, and I'm really a big fan of his work. So when we got the opportunity to work with him, it was just yes, we want him.
Yeah,
So he was on the list of the possibilities proposed by our publisher early in the development of the game. So when we saw his name on the list of voices that our publisher thought he could manage to recruit or include in the game, we said yes. So this is Travis that we want. You can manage to have him, and we would be super pleased. Yeah, actually, it's the same for the music. The music of the game is composed by a music composer, a French music composer, his name Christophe Herral, and Christophe Herral is the music composer for Rayman Legends and Rayman Origins.
Nice.
He's really a big name of the French video game industry, and I'm a huge fan of his work. Actually, my daughters are also huge fans, and they play a lot to Rayman Legends and Rayman Origins. So it was super cool for me to have the music of the game made by.
Did you just make Foretales to get an excuse to meet all your idols in the industry?
Yeah, it was really nice to speak with Travis, work with Christophe Herral. Yeah, it was really super cool.
And you already told us about who you got for the music, who you got for the voice acting. What's the rest? What's the whole size of the team? That how many people are behind Foretales?
So Alkemi is composed of 5 person, me included, and we worked with one writer for more than a year for writing the huge load of dialogue included in Foretales. So the production team was 6 people for something like a year and a half. And then Christophe Herral for the music and Travis Willingham for the voice.
Okay, so it looks like a big and very polished game, but actually the team isn't that big, right?
Yeah, we are a small team.
So can you tell me about the rest mechanic?
So the rest mechanic is a way for us to put a bit of pressure on the players for them to move forward. So it's not supposed to be a difficult game, but so when you get out of cards to play, you basically lost. And there is only one way to retrieve cards that you played, skill cards that you played, is by resting. and the rest deck is composed of 2 cards for each region of the game. Each time you use the rest card, you recover 3 skill cards for each of your characters. But each time you've got a penalty for using the rest card, and you can minimize this penalty sometime if you accept to pay a cost.
No point.
So depending on the region and the theme of the region, maybe for example, the next rest card right now on the deck is a hunger rest card. So if you play it, you will lose health points, or you can spend food to avoid losing health points. But whatever your choice, you will get 3 skill cards for each of your characters. And if you get to the bottom of the rest card, you have only 1 rest card left, and you have to use it, then it's game over. You have to restart the mission.
Yeah, it's this impending doom that makes you focus on. Okay,
Yeah.
you can't be always getting your best cards back. You need to make do with what you have right now, which is also the point of the game, right?
But there is a mechanic where you can, if the cards you have in your hand at the moment are not the cards you actually want, there is always the possibility to trade one of your cards, one of your skill cards in your hands, with 1 card of the deck of your adventurers, or even from the discard pile. If you want to trade a card with your deck of adventurer, you will just have to discard the card you want to swap. And if you want to swap your 1 card of your hand with the discard pile, you have to discard the card, and also you have to spend 1 food. So there is always a way to have the skill card that you want at any given moment, but it may cost something if you don't already have it in hand.
It's a trade-off that we need to decide what to do or not. It's also very cool that we moved from one region to the other, but we kept this assassin that we recruited. We kept all the resources. Does this happen in all the game or just in the specific instance of regions?
So you keep your resources and your cards only when you move from one region to another. But when you will actually change mission and you will get to the next chapter of the game, we completely remove whatever you've gained, except quest items. But all the resources, all the consumable that you did not use, we remove them because the story is supposed to take place a bit later. So, and we don't want you to be able to grind a lot of resources in one mission and then completely steamroll the next one. So we want
Exactly.
each mission to be its own little challenge, isolated from the rest of the game. So there's really no need to spend all your cards to frantically hold a lot of resources, and if you end with 40 gold, it's wasted.
I would do that for sure if it was possible. I'd spend like the whole deck of rest cards, the whole deck, just get everything I can until the next one.
So this is an interesting situation. So at this point, you have to get past the statue in the labyrinth. So the top left card, the top left location card, and to get past the statue, you will have to get rid of those guards. And at the beginning of the game, a level 9 fight might seem like something impressive, but it's really not. And I'll show you how. So you can decide to engage them because you already have a lot of resources.
I trust
Get
you.
rid of them.
And if it goes wrong, I can blame you anyway. So it's win-win for me.
Trust me, it will be really, really easy. So at that point, you have a lot of guards. They have a total of 4.5 morale. You have to you have to reach 0 for the rest of them to live. So basically, the reasoning here is, okay, so how do I get rid of some of them? So you can use fame, you can use food for some of them, and you can use gold. The hungry guards, the guards with the apple, the badgers with apple. So those guards, you can buy them with food. Food is really easy to find in the
Very
garden.
cheap.
So you can use food on both of them.
They sell themselves for an apple, which is very
Yeah.
convenient for us.
Okay, and that at that point, so you reach 2.5. So either you get rid of the 2 level 2 guards, or you just have to get rid of 1 level 3 guards. And if you do that, you will reach 0 morale, and the 2 others will go. So you use 3 gold on the
Yeah.
on the
This one
left.
is the best. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you bribe only a level 2 guard,
Guards
it will
will
not be
influence
enough.
the local bandits.
You've reached 0, and the 2 other will leave. And the
What's the matter,
great thing
tough
about
guy?
making them leave
Nice.
is that each time you make someone retreat, you get 1 point of fame because you spared some life.
They're like the other 2 friends just left with an apple in their hands. This must be a tough guy. Let's run away. So this is a nice way to put the fight. I can either decide to risk it and lose some HP and use my HP as a resource, or I can use my actual
Exactly.
resources as resources
HPs
to send them out.
HPs are a resource, like another.
So I'll go here. I have apples for this guy, and this one will need not Grim, will need fame. So I think I'm good with this.
Yeah, but using the apple would be a waste.
Because I just need to
Because-
take out this one,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Chase for the right
So
price.
this one needs 2 fame. The assassin is cool, but I don't need him for now. I think the fame is the best thing here. I can also use the aim shot.
Yeah.
But that yes was so sad that I'm going to bribe him with fame. You don't want me killing the guards here, right?
Yep, that's Pan's name dropping.
Okay, we're doing this. So now I have the patrolled garden, which I can, let me see, I can find the gardener, which is what I'm looking for. And another question from the early concept from the days about seeing Cultist Simulator and thinking this would be really cooler if it was a narrative driven, more casual experience. From that, how much did the game iterate? Was the actual version of Foretales the first idea that came to mind, or was it a very different game before?
Yeah, it was a really long work. When we really started the first prototype, we spent 7 months working on the prototype. Honestly, and at that time we did not have a publisher, so we did this on our own with our own money. We've worked for 7 months, sorry. And honestly, the result was interesting, but not really good. It was really not interesting to play. There were good ideas, but it was really not working. But it was enough to convince the publisher that there was something interesting to try with that. So we signed a publishing deal with Dear Villagers. And I thanked them for that again, because honestly, at that point, the game was good looking, but not that great. And we spent the first 5 months of production iterating maybe with 1 iteration every month, changing a lot of mechanics each time to reach the current version of Foretales. So there were, maybe the first prototype, and then at least 4 major iterations over the
Wow.
5 first.
So probably if someone saw the first prototype, they wouldn't know it was Foretales.
So yeah, it looks a lot like that. The look of the game, the art direction was already there, but the mechanics were really different. There were some additional stats. Combats were more complex, but they were too complex. We spent too much time making complex combat mechanics, when at the same time we wanted the player to avoid fighting too much and killing a lot of creatures. So it did not make any sense to make a complex combat system in a game where we are not supposed to fight all the time. So we had to remove some system, simplify some stuff. We had at some point early in the game we had a stealth mechanism. It
Mhm.
was nice, and I still think that there was something we could have done with it, but we never really managed to make it work.
Mhm.
So we had to completely scrap
That's an indicative
the
matter.
stealth system and replace it with other mechanics. But yeah, we tried a lot of things. There's definitely room for improvement. If I were to start over and make a new Foretales, I would not make it exactly the same way. I know I have a few
Mhm.
ideas to improve some part of the game, and so. But yeah, we really started from something that was not really enjoyable to play, and we ended up with something that was yeah quite nice for playtesters. So when we reached that point, we went okay, we leave it like that, and we just add content and make a game.
And was it at some point a physical game? Did you try to make it work with the real decks of cards? Have a prototype at the table?
Not really, because the core of the game is the heart of the game is like a huge spreadsheet, a huge table with intersection between action cards and location cards, and for each of those cells there is a list of effects, and so the whole game is a huge spreadsheet with thousands and thousands of possible combinations. And this is not something that you can easily um,
The second he touched
make
the
work
mysterious
automatically in real
line,
life.
Volpan felt an ancient power
So
flowing through him.
it's really something that you have to
Reality
build
fractured and exploded
uh,
into an infinite number
incrementally,
of worlds,
and then
all
you
identical
test
and
it
yet
on other people.
somehow
It's even
distinct.
not something that you can
Beyond
test
the webs
yourself.
of fate, he witnessed
Mhm.
Well,
all possible
to a point
futures,
you can,
resonant,
but
vibrating,
Yeah.
flashing.
I used a lot of,
Then
I've
he
made a lot
saw,
of
and he
graphs
knew.
with
He,
connections
his
between
loved
cards
ones, his
to
city,
find
his
all
kingdom,
the
Mhm.
connection
his
possibles between
world.
locations, people, stuff
Everything
like that.
was
So
going to
I made
disappear,
myself a
swallowed
lot of
up by a
graphs
cataclysm
to
whose
model
origin
the
lurked
different
behind
biome
the
of the
veil
game.
of
Mhm.
But this
possibilities.
was not something that you could easily do physically,
Yeah, yeah.
prototype the game.
Yeah, I didn't mean in the sense of the game being completely playable in a physical sense, but more of having like, let's just try this specific part of the region with cards. Maybe it works or not, so we can brainstorm around the table. But if you already had the prototype, probably makes no sense. But some people it helps. And
The Foretales it was inspired by Cultist Simulator,
Mhm.
but it's also inspired by several board game, physical board game and physical card game. I can cite Time Stories,
Okay, nice.
the Fifth Continent, Pathfinder Adventures, stuff like that. So there are actually several physical games that we used as inspiration for Foretales, but and we could maybe someday we will do a physical version of Foretale, but it will be quite different
Oh yeah, for sure.
from the video game.
Yeah, I get the flow of the story works very well with the, as you mentioned, with it being a digital game, because everything works and everything is glued together correctly. If it was a physical game, in this actual version that is now, you need like a whole book of saying, go get card
Exactly,
number 2371 from deck number 6,
exactly.
and stuff like that. So yeah, some games seem like this is, although this is a card game, it's very much turned out to be a digital card game, and it takes advantage of what makes digital card games good, which is to prevent annoying setups, to reduce downtime of maintaining the engines. I think it was very nicely achieved here in Fortes.
Thank you.
Now we are going to the. I
So you
touched the
finish the
liar. Yes.
tutorial. Yeah, you finish the tutorial, and you actually reach the actual beginning of the game. So you reveal the larger story and the fact that you Volpin, when he grabbed the lyre, he was supposed to steal. He saw a future where the whole world was destroyed, and from that point onward, you will have to
What's
maybe
this?
find a way to save the world or at least survive. And it's really up to you. You so on this screen you've got a tarot cards, and each tarot cards represents either a doom event, so something that will a terrible events that will maybe so here cause the death or the loss of Leo. So cards are either doom events, so those are not missions you can play, but those are events that you try to avoid, and the other cards are missions that you can decide to do or you can decide to ignore because you won't have the time to accomplish all missions. Because as you
What's
see
this?
in on the doom events, you've got numbers, and those numbers are actually countdowns, and when they reach zero, the event happens.
So I need to complete the missions in order to prevent the doom events.
So yeah, for example, for Leo, you've got 2 turns before he is transferred somewhere else, but you probably won't be able to save him anymore.
Hmm.
And if you actually do the mission the prisoner before the countdown reach zero, then you will be able to make help Leo escape from prison. But do you have time to save Leo and save the world? Hmm,
Yeah.
maybe not.
Yeah, I need to figure it out. I have 2 turns for the transfer. Maybe I can use the prisoner and then go to strike the leader and get the militia onslaught. But maybe it doesn't work, and then I'm compromising the father of the main character to save his friend. So it's a choice that I need to make and live with the consequences. And
Exactly.
this is a branching theme throughout these Foretales that I need to decide where to what I can risk and what I can't risk in order to save the world. Because if I save Leo and I don't save the world, it's kind of pointless to save Leo anyways.
And it's really yeah, you have to try stuff and we live with them and maybe try again later and try another combination, and at some point you will be able to reach the true ending, maybe.
Are there many endings or just
There
one?
are um, 6 major different endings with a level of it can end really really bad, really badly, and up to saving maybe almost everyone.
Almost.
But yeah, you won't be able to save everyone. But yeah, there's definitely a good ending and even a true good ending. But if you play the game, the game is not. The whole goal was not to hide super hard
Mhm.
the good endings. You just have to play the game, and as you play the game, it becomes clearer and clearer what you need to do to get a better ending. And the game plays around that. The game um, is aware that it's not the first time you
Yeah.
play or not, and there's a whole lot of discovery to make playing the game once and more than once.
Yeah, you might not get to the best ending, but you get to your ending, which is what matters in the first playthrough. I don't think we have time for another region of Fortil, so we'll go with a couple of questions from the audience. Is there a roadmap for this game, or did the team already moved on to the next project?
We started working on our next project.
which is a super secret project that we'll find out eventually, or is there already an announcement?
Yeah, if this project happens, it will be probably revealed somewhere next year, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, it's still a bit secret.
Uh, we're very curious, and maybe it'll be available in next year's IndieX. Who knows?
Yeah. As a reveal, or it won't probably it probably won't be released next year, but we might reveal the type of the game, the genre of the game next year.
Oh, that would be super cool. Do you have any tips? We have a lot of game developers, indie game developers, and a lot of people that want to be in the industry. From since you started your career until you got to the point now, what is something that you'd wish you could tell yourself back in the past? If you could see a vision in a liar with the future, what would be the vision that you would send back?
Um, it's been Alkemi is 13 years old now. It's our Foretales is our third major game, like
Mhm.
major project. We've been working the first two games we've self-funded entirely, so it took a lot of time to earn enough money to finance those games. For Foretales, we've signed a publishing deal, and the game was uh, largely funded by the publisher, not by us. If I was to give advice to my old self, it would be to spend more time finding ideas that I personally think are cool, because it's really important to work on something you like, because there is a lot of work, a huge amount of work to finish a game. So if it's painful because you don't like what you're doing, it's uh, yeah, you should not do it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
well put. There's this grace period when you enter a new project where everything is cool and everything is rainbows and butterflies. But after some point, if you're not passionate about it, it just becomes a chore, and the quality of your work, and even the since it's very creative
yeah,
part of work becomes affected by that. So yeah, pursue your
but
passions.
the thing that I did not do enough earlier
Hmm.
was taking time to find something that I think is cool, but also being sure that the project I'm working on will have a public. Not make
Okay.
a game only for myself, but find an idea, find a concept, and make a game that will hopefully appeal to a large public. And actually, being able to manage to sell the idea of a game and
Hmm.
sell a prototype of a game to a publisher
Hmm.
is already a first step, that you manage to convince someone to give you money to do the game. So maybe it's a good idea, because if you have a super idea in your head and you think, yeah, I really really want to play that game, and you try to sell the idea to publisher, and you try to find funding, but you don't manage to do it, maybe you're not a good seller of idea, okay? But maybe also your idea is not that good. Maybe it's only good for you, and it was something that I was not paying enough in attention earlier in my career. So today, when I decide on what game will work, I I pay a lot of attention, and I try to select a game that I think, at least, I'm convinced myself, and I try to convince others that it has potential. And if I can't manage to convince others that it has potential, I don't even try to make that game.
Okay, yeah, believe in yourself, but also believe in the market and the publishers. Because indie gaming and indie development, a lot of times about finding that right niche that fits your game. But if the niche is just yourself, it probably isn't going to pay the bills.
Yeah. And
So
even
yes,
if you don't want to find a publisher, or if you don't need
mhm,
a publisher, at least trying to find people on board with the idea, and people really uh, really interested by the idea, and not just your friends. if possible, not your friends. It doesn't mean anything.
That'll be super nice.
Convince your friends.
Yes. Okay, that's great advice. We're running out of time here on the stream. Thanks a lot again, Alain,
Thank you.
for joining us. Foretales is amazing in every aspect. It ties really well with the lore, with the game mechanics. The art and the sound is amazing. We are very pleased that it was submitted to this year's event. Don't know if you have any
Thank
final
you.
words that you want to say to the audience.
No, just so far the reception of the game was really good, and I hope we will keep having new players testing our game and discovering the things we try to do and enjoy this new way of telling a story. So hopefully it will continue to be like that for the game.
Yeah, and you only have to go up from here. You saw, you got inspired from the game. You evolved your own way, the formula, and now you already know what you would do different if you started all over again. So you probably already got it all figured out for the future. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for watching the stream. Stay there because we got more indie games coming. Not with me, but with someone even more amazing than I am. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
So, would you like to know the fate of the realm? Good. Then let's begin. First, pick a card. Aha! The thief. You know, I once heard a story about a thief and his friend who were asked to steal a magical lyre. But it was heavily guarded. And it wasn't exactly smart to attack the guards head-on. So, they had to get creative. Now you're getting it. But no sooner had they gotten their hands on the lyre than the thief began to have terrifying visions of the end of the world. And he knew that the only way to escape it was to gather his companions and set off on a voyage into the unknown. And then, well, what happens next is entirely up to you. Foretales, a card-based narrative journey